Procrastination. One of the only things I've managed to master in this lifetime. Take, for instance, these sugar scoop extensions, which I started about a year and a half ago. They're about half done, but have been sitting in storage for the past year. And they're just one of 73 unfinished boat projects that I'm going to show you guys today. This is my $102,000 worth of shame. It's the cost of all the boat projects I've started but never finished, and the real reasons why. From why I spent a small fortune on marine plywood but never fixed any of the cabins or rebuild the walls to connect to the existing cabin walls right here, to how I let this brand new fridge sit for so long that it got infested. There was a stream of termites coming out of it. I just found these 8 solar panels in a bathroom. They were supposed to go on this Bimini that I drove all the way to Florida to buy, but then just left it balancing on the flybridge for over a year. And that's not even half of it. I'm airing all of my dirty laundry because once you guys know the truth, I'll be way too embarrassed not to do the work. I have hauled everything aboard and broken it up into the different sections of the boat where the projects intend to take place. And then I'm gonna break each one of them down, and essentially each one of these projects will become their own video in the next 2 to 3 months. Basically, once it's all out there, I'll have no excuses and we'll just have to finish them. I'm gonna run through some of the simple stuff first, and then we'll get into the big projects like this $30,000 electrical system that I drove halfway across the country to pick up. This is the most recent of the projects. This one's only 1 month old. These here are what's going to be our new trampolines. Our current trampolines have massive holes in it. I've almost fallen through several times. I've had entire legs go through. We got this stuff from Multi-Hull Nets. They sent it about a month ago. I've gone as far as lay everything out to make sure it roughly fits, although these need to be stretched out a lot, so they're quite a bit smaller than the current trampolines. These are pillows. These are sweet floating pillows that you use on the trampolines or float in the water. These are our current cushions, which have completely fallen apart in the sun and now drop foam everywhere. I was able to fix them up with a little bit of tape. The color didn't match, but they still worked. But my wife made me throw them in the dumpster. These new ones are Sunbrella on the top and mesh on the bottom, so they should last a whole lot longer. We also got this sweet shade that attaches like up there to get us out of the sun. This is the shade. The shade connects to the mast, the jib up front, and then the 2 shrouds on the side, as well as the front, what is that called? Like bow peak. It basically covers the entire front of the boat. Here's a picture of it. Now, the reason why we haven't set any of this stuff up is because it's hot here in Texas, and these trampolines would take like all day to swap out. And by that time, I'd have heat stroke. So I was thinking I'd get this shade up first, but then I couldn't figure out where all the straps went, which would have been easily solved by reading the manual. But that didn't stop me from putting everything back into the bag and use my powers of procrastination to decide to do all of this once it got colder. And then we've got these 2 downwind sails here. These were kindly given to us by a patron. Thank you, Stephen. And this is probably one of the oldest projects we got going. He gave these to us at least a few years ago, right off of his new boat. It was a super generous gift because this Jenniker and Spinnaker run about $5,000 each. We actually had these on our sail back here to Texas, and I never used them because, well, I really don't know how to use downwind sails yet. I've gone as far as taking them out of the bag and rolling them and checking them out. I've read about Spinnakers and Jennikers. So technically I have used a Spinnaker once on my friend's boat. It wasn't hard to set up and it looked pretty awesome when it was up.
Oh, boy!
Spinnaker! But then it tore, and I don't want that happening to ours. Maybe that's the real reason I haven't used them. Speaking of torn sails, when Hurricane Beryl visited our marina last year, it pulled our mainsail out of the sail bag and flopped it around ragged all afternoon.
Hurricane Beryl making landfall, 80-mile-per-hour winds toppling trees and ripping through towns. The storm strengthening to a Category 1 overnight.
Apparently, I didn't lash the sail down enough times, which everyone in the marina was kind enough to remind me of after the fact. This here is our mainsail project. It's been in progress for probably about a year now. This mainsail has traveled quite a bit. It all started in Mexico when my buddy asked me if I wanted this basically new Lagoon 450 sail. I can't say no to free stuff, but the problem was I was about to cross the Pacific Ocean on his boat. This is our new sail, broken in by Parlay. So I had to find somewhere to stash it, like in the back office of the marina we were staying at. Thanks again, Dick and Gina. I told him I'd be back in a couple of months to pick it up, but I forgot all about it until the whole hurricane thing happened a year and a half later. So Mary and I stashed the kids with my mom.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
Booked some flights and flew all the way to Puerto Vallarta. We brought Dick and Gina some Korean ramen noodles because that's the one thing she couldn't get there.
Have you had these before?
They're spicy.
Yes, you have had them.
Yes.
Then we started looking for our sail, which we eventually tracked down in one of their storage shipping containers.
Oh, here. This is it. Sorry. Looking in the back. Okay, this sucker is like 150 pounds.
Then we hauled it to the airport and tried to fly it home, but they said it was way too big and heavy. So we hired a guy to drive it all the way up Mexico and just over the border in Arizona, rent a storage unit, and leave it in there. Then a month later, we road tripped 1,200 miles to pick it up and drive it all the way home. And after spending all that time and money, it was still cheaper than paying $10,000 for a new one.
The reason why we haven't installed this sail yet is, well, it's not really easy to connect a sail that weighs like 150 pounds by yourself. And when I took everything apart, I did it haphazardly, so I don't know exactly where everything goes. Won't be needing this anymore. All right. That's not good. This is our ground tackle section. That's all the stuff that's gonna keep the boat from moving when we're anchored. This is a new bridle that we got but never set up. Here is a chain hook to replace our current carabiner. Yeah, that's our current chain hook. A mooring snap shackle. And we also have a new anchor. Roll bar. The fluke. Shank. I actually personally picked this anchor out. Not like the model, but the like actual one out of a pallet of them.
What can I say? This is my first anchor. I was there for its birth. I literally helped deliver it out of the container. I still remember opening up that pallet and feeling that instant connection, and I knew she was the one.
It's this one. I feel it. Yeah. It's this one right here.
This was the one that called out to me. It's a Mantis 105. It's, I think, 2 to 3 times heavier and bigger than our current anchor.
And it's been sitting in this dock box for the past 2 years because you don't need an anchor in a marina, where we've been for a long time.
That concludes the bow, and it brings us to the fly bridge, where I'm gonna start with this sweet Bimini right here. See, it's moving around because the installation has not been complete.
We actually drove all the way to Florida to get it off of another Lagoon 450 because these guys are usually $15,000 from the factory, but this one was only $1,500 plus $150 for speeding.
We're about 90% complete on this project.
We already got the hard part out of the way, which was trying to get it aboard fully assembled. In hindsight, we probably should have put it together on the boat. But luckily, all of our dock neighbors rallied together like good dock neighbors do.
Yeah, thank you, John. Appreciate it. You were right.
Yes, sir. Now, all I have to do is find the right bolts so we can attach it to the actual roof. Wait, I'm lying to you, because when I was editing this video, I found this video proof of me buying the right screws. I have zero recollection of this happening, but apparently I've had them since July 12th of last year. So now I just have to find them.
Once we get that done, then we can install all of these flexible solar panels. So we've got 4 of them over there,
They're a little bit more rigid. They're from SunPower. I don't know the exact configuration yet, but they're gonna be spread out across this Bimini, which has plenty of space. And then on this side, we've got some super flexible solar panels. This is this weird technology called SIGs. They're supposed to be self-healing, so if you poke them, they continue to work. They feel like very vinyl-y. We've got 4 200-watt panels, which will be stretched across probably the back side of this Bimini. All these panels that'll be up here will work in conjunction with the panels that will be mounted back there, which is another unfinished project. But all in, our goal is to have about 4,000 watts of solar. The last thing we have up here is this Superior Life Savings life raft. It's probably not gonna end up right here. It's probably gonna go over here. The lagoons actually have a really nice life raft pocket that's under the rear transom, except for this life raft is way too big to fit there. So the story behind this raft and why I've yet to install this beauty is that it's heavy, like 148 pounds heavy. So there's no easy way to get it aboard. I know it's silly, but today is about coming clean about the lies I tell myself to get out of boat work. To be honest, this raft here is a lie. It's just the shell. I had to take the guts out just so I could get it up here. And now you know why it's been sitting in storage for the past 2.5 years. I was about to show you our massive yet uninstalled power system, but these guys offered to move some stuff, and that never happens, so I jumped on it. Now, if they were always this helpful, we wouldn't have any unfinished boat projects.
Over. This is the salon / galley / living room, and before I get into all the stuff that you just saw us bring in, I want to answer one of the most common questions, like actually second to why the heck aren't you guys sailing yet? The second most frequent question is, what are you guys gonna do for school for the kids? We actually have some experience in this. During COVID, we did all homeschooling. She is in charge of like the official organized schooling.
Yeah, so I teach the science, the math, the reading, the literature, all the things that are required for, I guess we live in Texas, so we have to follow the Texas curriculum.
I come in behind her and teach them all the like lessons in life, if you will, like how to build things, how to solve problems, how to deal with people, how to get along with each other. So lately I've been cheating and teaching out of this book I've been reading called The Ultimate Guide to Rebuilding Civilization. It's like this mashup of survival how-tos mixed in with significant historical inventions, and it's like written in the form of a manual. This is the book you would want if all was lost and you had to rebuild everything from scratch. It covers everything from basic knowledge like how to weave ropes and make different types of fires, all the way to how to build an alarm clock or engineer a railroad transport system. Okay, pop quiz, drying and smoking. How do you dry meat and fish?
Take out the bones, the fat, and then cut it into smaller pieces, and then soak it in salt water, spices, or...
How salty should it be though?
It should be to where if you put a raw egg in there, it floats.
You hang it outside 5 to 6 feet in the air so animals don't eat it.
What's the most important thing?
Air circulation so it doesn't rot, and it has to be less than 40 degrees Celsius.
And how many degrees is that in Fahrenheit?
104 degrees Fahrenheit.
Boom! So 5,000 hours of research from scientists and experts went into making this book, and you can check it out at the link below right here, and make sure you use code DavidShe10 for 10% off. Let me show you all these fridges, because in this space right here, we're gonna have 4 fridges / freezers.
David, 10% off.
Bye guys. Boat fridges typically cost about 5 to 10 times as much as regular home fridges. The benefits, they run off of 12 volt. There's no other benefits. We're not really worried about inverting the power. So I bought a standard deep freeze.
$200 at Home Depot. It's been sitting in our garage for the past year. I haven't been able to install it because we never installed the power yet. So originally what went here was a cabinet with a marine fridge in there. That fridge sucked so bad. It leaked constantly. Cold air was always coming out. I tore that entire cabinet out. I threw that fridge away. Actually, it's still in the storage. So the idea is whenever we figure out the countertops right here, which I'll get to next, we'll do the same countertop along the lid of this fridge. So when it's closed, it'll be flush and then it'll just open. We might have to add some struts to the inside of the fridge to help lift the countertop if it's too heavy, but that's the freezer project. Above it here is one of 4 of our electric coolers. They make really great benches. I only have one of them here. This one is the EcoFlow that also makes ice. Yes, it's got an ice maker right here. We also have a 100-liter Dometic cooler fridge that's gonna go right here and serve as a bench. And then a slightly smaller 75-liter Dometic cooler fridge that's gonna go right here as a bench. So this whole section is just gonna be filled with fridge/freezers. There's actually a 4th one. It's a little bit smaller. That one will probably go right here and be the bench for this nav station area. Before we get to the galley, I wanna show you this boat monitoring project that we started and never finished. It's by a company called Rome. We actually met them at the Annapolis Boat Show last year. It's been a year. And they sent us this full boat monitoring system that connects wirelessly through like a cell signal. It can monitor all sorts of stuff. The main things I want to monitor are the bilge pumps, which you can do with these float switches. The second thing I want to keep track of are the hatches in the kids' room, so I know if they sneak out during a passage. This is their hatch sensor. It's a magnetic switch that tells you if a door opens. Now, in the galley, aka kitchen, we have another one of these really gross fridges. It's called a Vitrafrigo. Never ever buy a Vitrafrigo fridge. They suck, they leak, they mold, they're disgusting. We're gonna tear this guy out and replace it with a Dometic marine fridge. Yeah, I know, I just went into all that about how they're like 10 times more expensive than regular fridges, but we got this one sponsored by Dometic, so they gifted it to us and we're supposed to make a video about it, but that was 2 years ago. Sorry, Dometic, we still owe you a video. The problem with this Dometic fridge has nothing to do with Dometic, actually. It has to do with the fact that it's been sitting in our storage for 2 years and termites completely took it over. There was a stream of dirt and termites coming out of it. Now, I cleaned it all off. There was like dirt all over the back of it and the bottom of it. So hopefully everything's dead, but all of that right there was just packed. You can still see some of the dirt in there. All of that was packed with dirt and little baby termites. And that's why it's sitting outside on the dinghy, because the last thing you want on a boat is termites. Right here, we've got an RO filter. This is gonna be connected to the sink. It's for anytime we're connected to shore water directly. Over here, we have an electric oven / French door toaster oven. We've had this sitting in our garage for the past year. That is gonna replace that oven right here. And right here is Mary and May's prized possession. The girls in our family love ice. Specifically this like crunchy ice that you get at Sonic. So I have to figure out a place to mount this so it's not just sitting on the countertop. We've got projects so old that I can't even find the products that I bought for the project. Case in point, this stove right here, it's gonna be replaced by a dual burner induction stove. I bought this off of Amazon during a Prime Day and I don't know where it is. Probably in our garage somewhere, possibly in the storage unit, maybe even at my mom's house, but that is gonna go right here. The biggest project in the salon and galley here, we are replacing all of these counters starting from here. All of this wood right here is gonna be covered
with new counters. We're gonna CNC cut it, replace all the top, paint it with self-leveling something so it looks really nice and white like this here.
We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, so we're just gonna do what Jade and Brett on Expedition Evans did, since theirs turned out really nice. Looks like the first step is to seal the countertops with regular epoxy, and then we're gonna pour and float and level with the white epoxy that I think we dye with some pigment. And then we add some of the silvery stuff so it looks like marble, and then blow it around with a heat gun to make it whoosh. I know these guys, and I bet you they're making it look so much easier than it is. Watch, mine's gonna turn out looking like this.
Everything in this galley right here will be covered in new countertops as well. There's a new sink that's gonna come in here. We haven't bought it yet, so it does not count towards unfinished projects. It's also gonna cover this nice cabinet right here that we started a year and 8 months ago, but never finished. But there's
I
no
always
cost
get
to it.
over ambitious at the beginning of a project. Like when we first decided that we wanted new countertops, I just jumped right into it and started tearing off trim and removing boards, which was so unnecessary because we weren't even close to installing new ones. Kind of like the sugar scoop extensions I'm going to show you when we get to the back of the boat. I was in such a rush to get them built, which was kind of pointless because I can't even install them until we haul the boat out. Now we're headed to the back right cabin to check out the biggest boat project I've managed to put off. I'm not proud of this one. We've got 26 kilowatt hours of Battleborn lithiums with inverters and chargers and everything else that goes with it. And why haven't we installed any of it? Well, I could say it's because I wanted to set up the solar panels first. Or I could say I'm still trying to figure out the schematics because they're pretty complex for a system like this. In all honesty, I think I've been putting it off because I'm worried I'm going to screw up the stupid battery cables. All of them need to be the exact same length with perfectly crimped lugs, or you'll have increased resistance. Like on our camper van where I made a bad crimp and didn't find out until we were driving in the middle of nowhere and the cable starts smoking and the van almost burns down with all of us in it. What if that happens on the boat? I can't be responsible for that. I'm starting to sound like George McFly, whining like a little bitch.
What if she said no? I don't know if I could take that kind of a rejection.
This is arguably the biggest project that I've neglected. We are in the starboard aft cabin. This is where our entire electrical system's gonna go. So we got all this stuff from Battleborn. We drove 2 days across the country to Reno, Nevada to pick all of this stuff up.
And this is literally our dream setup, so we were really excited. Especially Mary right here.
8 270 amp hour 12 volt batteries. There's 2 48 volt 5,000 watt inverters by Victron. We've got 3 250 volt 100 amp solar controllers. This 100 amp auto transformer, and all the stuff to wire it, connect it, and display it.
Like this links power in, the shunt, and these 2 distributor boxes, which are essentially really pretty bus bars. And then there's the Serbo GX, which is the brains of the operation. I think you can only use one, but we have 2. And then finally, a touchscreen to control it all.
We're currently running off of 2 knockoff Amazon lithium batteries with 0 inverters.
So basically, this is going to be a massive upgrade for us.
The only other project that I have for this cabin is this EcoFlow low power portable air conditioner. Yeah, I've had this for about a year now. I've been meaning to install it. I sleep a little bit warm, so I wanted just a little extra boost in this cabin alone. Maybe we'll stash it down in this corner here and then rig the hosing to go out that port right over there. There actually is one more project in here. That back wall right there, you see it's covered in plastic sheeting. So originally it was covered up by these big old slats of super thin plywood wrapped in vinyl, and we took it all down to do all our repairs. They went across these walls right here as well.
We did a lot of damage to the walls when we were trying to fix those bulkheads.
I feel like we could just kick it out now.
And no matter how well we fix it, there's still going to be seams and cracks and some really big scarring, so we have to cover it up.
We're gonna do it with super thin sheets of plastic wrapped in super leather, and we'll Velcro it on so then it's easily removable.
Hopefully when we finally start this project, this plus this will equal this.
so this is the forward starboard cabin, and we only have 2 projects in here, but they're both pretty big ones. This is by far the longest outstanding project. A long time ago, we tore out these walls and rebuilt these bulkheads, and I'm still suffering from the PTSD of doing this boat work, this involuntary boat work where I had to work day and night. That when we finally got this boat back to the US, every time I think of having to work on these bulkheads, I just procrastinate and do something else. But the time has come for us to finish this boat so we can get sailing. The hard work is actually completely done. It was sanding and grinding all this stuff. Now all I have to do is just skin it with plywood, which we have plenty of, and then cover it in the super leather and plastic sheeting that I was telling you about in the aft cabin. Now for the second project, it's the watermaker. Because technically we have 2 of them. We've got this portable watermaker by Seawater Pro, this portable watermaker by Seawater Pro. Why we have 2 of them? It's a really long story, but we're going to install one of them into this section of the boat where there are currently no walls, as you can see, but as I just mentioned, we're going to rebuild these walls, make a hatch right here, install one of these guys into this void area.
You know what'll be easier? Let me just teleport over to my buddy Dean's boat so I can show you. He's got a Lagoon 450 as well, so we're going to mount it exactly the same. But since we have the portable watermaker, it's a lot smaller and should fit in there much easier. So this guy rebuilds the interiors of private jets. That's why all the trim is perfect and it all looks like it came from the factory. My trim never looks perfect. And then this right here is actually the back of the control panel. It's actually mounted around the corner by the escape hatch, completely out of the way. Oh, and he's the one that told me about covering the walls with super leather.
Dean did it all in the salon. You can see it here.
Just imagine this, but covering all of our walls. I don't want to be able to see any wood. Now back to our boat. We're hopping over to the other forward cabin on the port side.
Because everything we need to do to those bulkheads, the walls we need to do on that side, we also need to do it on this side right here. We got to skin all these walls, rebuild the closet that goes right here, wood all along the top to cover the bulkheads, and then walls to connect to the existing cabin walls right here, which I don't know exactly how we're going to do, but we're going to do it.
On the upside, we already have all the marine grade plywood, the stain, and all the hardware we need to fix these cabins.
All right, so this is the kids' room. You obviously see the toilet right here, so we're going to start with the head. Right now we have 4 toilets that after you do your business, you have to sit there and pump literally 20 times. Super annoying. They use salt water, extremely smelly. So we're going to convert the 2 aft toilets into electric freshwater toilets. I don't necessarily need a toilet with a perfectly closing lid and a seat that doesn't move around, but I feel like I owe it to my wife to have at least one fully functioning toilet. We got these 2 toilets last year during Black Friday at West Marine, and I absolutely intended on installing them that weekend, but didn't. This is our double bunk quad kid sleeping system. We built this loft when we were in Panama. It was supposed to be temporary, literally just last for a couple of weeks. We never took it down, and this is where the kids sleep. We've got the 2 big ones that sleep on top because they don't roll as much, so they won't fall over. The 2 small ones sleep underneath. These are 8-inch memory foam mattresses with like cooling gel in them. I only brought one of them down. We've got 5 of them. One's gonna go up here, one's gonna go down there, one's gonna go in our room, and then we have 2 more that'll go in the forward cabins if they ever turn back into cabins. The problem with these mattresses is that they end up molding underneath. Actually, they mold on top also. You can see on here, look at that. Do you see that nasty? That's the kind of stuff people live with on a boat. I don't want that. So I got this to combat it. So this is an underlayment for the mattresses. It's about 1/2 inch thick, and all it does is sit underneath the mattress and raise it up about 1/2 inch so air can get underneath and keep everything dry. We have 5 of these as well. This brings us to the last part of our boat that has projects that are unfinished. Here We've got a combination of comfort stuff to engine stuff to structural stuff. The sugar scoops, which we're gonna end with. Oh shoot, I gotta land this drone. Okay, we'll start with the fuel transfer / polishing system. We got this gigantic fuel filter, and it's actually a water separator and fuel filter. This thing is gonna be connected to a oil resistant, fuel resistant pump. Both of these things will be connected together through a series of hoses, check valves, and ball valves so that we can do two things. We need to be able to transfer fuel between the two engines. Right now we have two separate fuel tanks and they're not connected at all. So this will be able to pump fuel in either direction. And I also need to just be able to polish fuel in general. And when you're polishing fuel, you're just literally taking fuel from one tank, running it through this filter, and then pumping it back into that tank. And then we have the outdoor rain shower. I tried to install this back at the house. I wanted my entire ceiling to be a shower coming down. And the cheapest way to do it was to get this gigantic shower head. Unfortunately, with the little PSI that we have at the house, it kind of dripped. But here on the boat, I bought this super high flow pump, which is gonna be dedicated just to this rain shower and hopefully can get that full torrential downpour effect that I'm going for. All this is gonna be installed right here on the solar arch, right at that T right there. Speaking of solar arch, that's our solar arch. It's been empty ever since the last hurricane that took our solar panels, but we've got a pallet of them ready to go.
We got 6 of these 590 watt Renogy panels. We purposely went for the bifacial panels, not just because they produce more power, but because they let some light through while regular panels are completely opaque. I remember seeing this on a really expensive solar yacht where there was a custom Bimini with inset bifacial panels, and it let just enough light through while still keeping everybody shaded. And that's exactly what I want across the back of our solar arch.
The goal here is to have 5 giant panels hanging off the back all the way across, giving us
3,000
watts of power, which should get us
15,000
watts per day.
And this is what ChatGPT says it's gonna look like. Yes, I did say 5 panels. I told it 5 panels, add 1 more panel. Make the number of panels exactly 5. This is what it gives me.
Outboard engine mount. This one I stole from my friend. He's in a Lagoon 450, 2 slips down.
The same one we were just in. So he borrowed my life raft to go to the Bahamas and somehow deployed it in the middle of the night somewhere in the Gulf.
So this is what I got for it, which is perfect because we have really weak davits and a pretty heavy dinghy. So having a giant outboard hanging off of the dinghy in super rough seas, not ideal. This thing mounts right here. It's designed to bolt through the deck, incredibly stable. Look at these, it's probably like 1.5 inch tubing. It's super strong.
And I'm really looking forward to installing it. It's actually the only project on this list I haven't tried to put off. I did just get it yesterday.
This brings us to our second to last unfinished boat project, new steering cables. These were also purchased back when I was in Panama many moons ago. This is just cheap Amazon Dyneema, but it works just the same as expensive Dyneema. They're meant to replace steel wire.
This is how the steering system works on most catamarans. The rudders are connected to either end of this really long rudder bar. One steering cable connects to the rudder bar on this side, and the other cable connects to the other end of the bar all the way down on the other side of the boat. They run towards each other to this set of sheaves in the middle of the boat, and then they run about 15 feet forward to these other sheaves which direct them upwards to the helm. They come up right under the steering column, and that's where they're joined together with a bicycle chain, which then connects to a sprocket on the back of the steering wheel. I just want to say that procrastination isn't always a bad thing. The only reason I know all this stuff about steering cables is from helping my friend change his steering cables. And I did that only because I was procrastinating my own boat work that day because I kept burning the epoxy.
it starts smoking. So we're gonna take a break from these bulkheads and go check out Parlay. They are redoing their steering cables.
We have come full circle. Looks like procrastination might actually be a good thing.
This brings us to our last and final unfinished boat project. It's probably the one that we've gone like furthest along. We have fully built our 2-foot sugar scoop extensions. I would tell you exactly how many layers we used and what type of honeycomb, but it's been so long that I really don't remember right now. When we make the video for the sugar scoop installation, I will share all of that with you. These sugar scoops will bolt onto the back of the existing sugar scoop. They'll bolt along here. We'll probably use 8 super thick, like M12 bolts, really thick ones, like the size of my pinky. And then we've got a perfectly cut sheet of honeycomb. This is gonna be the top of our sugar scoop.
Before, we had this much sugar scoop. This is the bottom step right here. Now we will have this much more. So we go from a 20-inch to a 46-inch piece.
That's gonna go on top of the existing scoop and then overlay on top of the sugar scoop extension, making it one piece. And then we'll wrap the whole thing in fiberglass.
The normal sugar scoop is just a step, while the extended sugar scoop can fit 4 people. The normal one you can maybe sit on and hang your feet over. The extended one we'll use as a scuba diving platform.
The hard part is gonna be fairing all the seams where it comes together, which is essentially that corner right there, all the way underneath, all the way up to the other side. But hopefully we can get some help. Subscribe. That concludes our list of unfinished boat projects. I am turning over a new leaf. No more procrastination. We're gonna make videos for all of the stuff that you've seen, and we'll see you next time.